Hey, this is Pastor Bunjee Garrett, and I want to take some time today to present you with another word of encouragement. Well, it's Valentine's Day, and while many in the church attempt to connect this annual holiday to the feast of Saint Valentine, I can't help but to wonder how many of our Valentine's Day traditions are actually inspired by the ancient Roman feast of Lupercalia. Now, the reason why I ask is due to the fact that our Valentine's Day traditions seem to be focused more on erotic love than with the celebration of a saint who was martyred for his faith on this very day. Just to be clear, it'll help you to know that Saint Valentine of Rome was a 3rd century saint who is widely celebrated on the 14th day of February because, according to tradition, he was arrested for preaching the gospel message of Jesus Christ, and after being sent off to Rome, he attempted to convince Emperor Claudius of the Christian faith. And as the story goes, Claudius ordered Saint Valentine to renounce his faith or to be beaten and clubbed and then beheaded. And according to tradition, Saint Valentine refused to renounce his faith in Jesus Christ. And as a result, he was executed outside of the Flaminian Gate on February 14th, 269 AD. Now, as we consider this connection between Saint Valentine and our modern-day Valentine's Day traditions, you might be interested to know that there are those who would have us to believe that Saint Valentine was initially arrested for secretly marrying Christian couples so that the husband wouldn't have to go off and fight in the name of Rome. And so this could be the reason for why Valentine's Day is all about romantic love. And another variation of the legend of Saint Valentine, well, it's based on the belief that he was imprisoned for refusing to sacrifice to pagan gods, and it was during his time in prison when the jailer, or according to others, possibly the judge, challenged Saint Valentine to pray for his blind daughter so that she might receive her sight. And according to the legend, he placed his hands onto her eyes and the child's vision was restored. And then on the day of his execution, he left the little girl a note which was signed, "Your Valentine." And now Hallmark thanks you for your continued participation in this tradition. Now, as we consider the various traditions about this man who was martyred for his faith on February 14th, you might be interested to know that it was back in 1969. That's when the Roman Catholic Church decided to remove Saint Valentine from the general Roman calendar. And the reason why is because so little is actually known about him. And while it's true that the Roman Catholic Church still recognizes his martyrdom on the 14th day of February, it's also true that many of our modern-day Valentine traditions, they seem to be a sterilized version of the Roman feast, which was once known as Lupercalia. Now, just to be clear, Lupercalia was an ancient pagan festival which was held every year in Rome in the middle of February, and the feast of Lupercalia was celebrated in ancient Rome between the 13th and the 15th of February with, a festival of fertility, of course, which was named after the Roman fertility god Lupercus. And while historians are quick to confess that no one really knows the exact origins of Lupercalia, what we do know is that it has been traced back as far as the 6th century BC. And according to historical reports, Lupercalia was a sexually charged celebration, which includes orgies and random matchmaking, which was believed to ward off evil spirits and infertility. And while some couples would end up getting married after this feast, others would just hook up for the year until the next Lupercalia. And as we consider how our modern-day Valentine celebration seems to be centered around romantic hookups, well, it seems to me that this annual holiday, at least here in America, has less to do with the martyrdom of Saint Valentine, and it has more to do with the sexually charged celebration of Lupercalia. Well, it's sad to say that this holiday, it makes many singles feel like they need to find that special someone. And so it's on Valentine's Day when singles go out in search of that, that desired hookup. And not only that, but it also puts pressure on many married couples who, may be struggling with intimacy. And it's sad to say that a great deal of this pressure comes from the media outlets who love to publish articles that encourage the importance of sex on Valentine's Day. After a simple Google search, I quickly found the following headlines, and I quote here, 10 kinky ways to up your Valentine's Day pleasure, or sex is the foundation to a perfect Valentine's Day, or how about 12 sexy Valentine's Day gifts great for him or her, and then there's things you need to know about having safe sex on Valentine's Day, and the list just goes on and on and on. This is just a small scratch on the surface of the sexually charged articles that media outlets love to publish just before Valentine's Day. And it's sad to say that this media-based emphasis on the importance of erotic love and sex on Valentine's Day, well, it ends up leading many people to pursue illicit relationships, which cause, more unplanned pregnancies, resulting in post-Valentine's Day spike in abortions and these sorts of issues. Not only that, but there are many who simply turn to the readily available pornography, which is so easy to find on the internet. And you might not know this, but a recent Barna report helps us to see that the use of pornography, it continues to increase here in this world, and especially among young people who are exposed to explicit pornographic images earlier than ever before. And it's sad to say that most Americans, including many Christians, don't really see the problems with pornography. According to the research, 3 in 5 U.S. adults, which is around 61%, spend time viewing pornography, and half of those who admit to using porn say that no one really knows about their addiction. And while the Bible is very clear that pornography is a sin, which results in rotten fruit in your lives, over 3 in 5 Christians, which is about 62% of those who trust in Jesus, actually believe that a person can regularly view pornography and still have a sexually healthy life. Listen, if you're a believer who shares this perspective, then please trust me when I tell you that those who view pornography are engaging in the sin of sexual immorality. Don't take my word for it. Here's how Jesus put it in Matthew chapter 5, where he declares, "You have heard that it was said to those of old, 'You shall not commit adultery.' But I say to you that whoever looks at a woman to lust for her has already committed adultery with her in his heart. If your right eye causes you to sin, pluck it out and cast it from you, for it is more profitable for you that one of your members perish than for your whole body to be cast into hell. And if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and cast it from you, for it is more profitable for you that one of your members perish than for your whole body to be cast into hell." Christian, listen, according to Jesus, those who look at a woman, or women, for those of you who look at a man with lust in your hearts, you're engaging in the sin of sexual immorality, at least in your heart. And it's for this reason that Jesus encouraged his audience to take drastic measures so that we might gain the victory over these lustful desires. And listen, this not only includes blocking sites like Pornhub and OnlyFans, but this also includes abstaining from the Hollywood-produced films that include the softcore porn that's found in most movies today. Sadly, most rated R movies today include softcore sex scenes, which are still pornographic by definition. And it's for this reason that I personally check out the Parent's Guide on IMDb before I go watch a movie. And if the movie includes sex scenes and nudity, I don't go watch the movie because, listen, I know that those scenes will only entice me to continue pursuing more and more pornography. As for those who think that they can go watch these sorts of sex scenes on the silver screen without any repercussions, I encourage you to remember what Paul wrote in Galatians chapter 6. There he declares, "Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatever a man sows, that he will also reap. For he who sows to his flesh will of the flesh reap corruption. But he who sows to the Spirit will of the Spirit reap everlasting life." Those who sow fleshly seeds into the soil of their minds, they end up reaping the rotten fruits of their carnal corruption. Therefore, those who think that they can fill their minds with all kinds of pornographic images without any negative effects, they're deceiving themselves, just like Eve deceived herself just before she ate that forbidden fruit. With that being the case, I encourage every Christian, we need to guard our hearts during this sexually charged holiday, and every other day for that matter. With this as the goal, I want to remind you that those who walk in the power of the Holy Spirit will not fulfill the lusts of the flesh. And so we should. Let's walk in the power of the Holy Spirit by faith in Jesus Christ. And as we do, He will help us to fight the good fight of faith, and all for the glory of God.